Welcome to Best 1031 Online, where you will get expert insights into all aspects of tax-deferred 1031 exchange from some of the nation's most well-known commercial real estate professionals, as well as CPAs, accommodators, wealth managers, and others. Here's your host, 1031 Broker James.
Let me tell you something. If you're a practicing commercial real estate broker trying to keep up in today's market, you cannot do it all yourself. I couldn't do what I do without my virtual assistant from CRE Task Wizard. Their VAs are trained specifically for commercial real estate administrative work, which frees me up to focus on revenue-producing activities. If you want your time back and your sanity back, go to CRETaskWizard.com. Tell them 1031 Broker James sent you, and they'll waive your onboarding fee. CRE Task Wizard. Buy your time back. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Best 1031 Online. I am 1031 Broker James, and today I get a word from one of my sponsors, CRE Task Wizard. I have with me today one of the co-founders of CRE Task Wizard, Kevin Hanan. Kevin, how are you, bud?
Hey, James, I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. Love the brand you're building online. Love the podcast. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. So Kevin started your career as a broker, right? Why don't you tell us those early days?
Yeah. Out of college, I was a broker at CBRE in Austin. I was an office tenant rep broker. And I did that for 3 years before I got the entrepreneur bug, and that bit me. And so I started CRE Task Wizard from learning some lessons that I learned from the brokerage perspective. That was about 3 years ago when we started the company.
Okay, so go a little deeper with the brokerage. What was it that you were doing with the brokerage, and what was it that when the light bulb went off and said, wow, there's a need here?
Yeah. So I was a office and industrial tenant rep broker. Obviously, the name of the game there, especially when you're young in your career, is slamming the phones, sending a bunch of cold emails, just trying to drum up business, new meetings any way you can. And at that time, before AI or anything like that, to spend my day making those calls, it took a lot of research, finding emails and LinkedIn URLs and stuff of the contacts that I wanted to connect with. And I just kept running into obstacles, getting enough ammo so that I could make the calls that I wanted to make, to have the number of meetings I wanted to make the amount of money that I wanted to make.
Right.
And I discovered through a friend this idea of a virtual assistant. Like, you can hire people in the Philippines for kind of a fraction of a cost of what you might pay somebody in the US, and they can work while you're asleep, and bam, you got your call list ready to go. So I tried that as like a 22-year-old who was very broke and putting all my money towards that. And it worked. I mean, after 6-7 months, you just started to see the results of that. And once I had a taste of that, I was like, hey, I think I looked around and I didn't see anybody in our industry, having discovered that yet. And so that was the genesis for Task Wizard at that point. And now we do that type of work and much more. And AI has leveled the playing field, so these VAs are able to do much more beyond that at this stage.
Yeah, I learned the same thing. Actually, it was 10 years ago now. Actually, 11 years ago now. I was at Marcus Millichap, and I brought me back home here to California from my practice in Phoenix, and same thing. Dave's like, I needed to build a database. And I was like, how are these guys able to make, 200-300 calls a week? How are they building the database and getting the, ownership data and getting phone numbers and getting all that information? And similar, the top producers at Marcus Millichap were like, yeah, you got to hire the guys that we use. They come in, I can't remember, there was some software we had to download, and they literally come into our computer overnight. We would leave a title farm open, and they would use the tools that we had on our desktop, i.e. LexisNexis and LandVision and all those killer tools. And they would scrub our databases overnight. We'd come in and we'd have 20 to 30 new records. We were averaging, I think back then I was getting between 125 and 150 scrubbed records a week. But yeah, there was a cost to that. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, to do the databases and then, spend your day doing that. And then, of course, you need to be on the phone half the day. So yeah, doing the VAs overnight was, total godsend.
Yeah, it's a game changer. I mean, especially like when you think about your cost per hour, how much time it takes to do that type of work. I mean, and then you compare that to one extra deal, right? I mean, the math in our industry works out really nicely for it. And now with AI, like it's just broadening the scope of what these VAs can do because these AI tools are so approachable. It'll teach you. It's the best tutor in the world. You can delegate a lot of your training of your assistant to AI. And, like your assistant can chat with these tools and take on a lot more work that maybe the AI can't do yet to kind of broaden the scope of what you can delegate to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for a broker just starting out or one that's on a team. There's just so much of that background admin work, as well as, because I know you, and we'll get into this in a minute, you guys offer VAs that come to the table with different skill sets, whether it's databasing or building the OM or doing valuations. But if you can have somebody doing all that in the background, I remember telling my broker back when I was in Phoenix, it's like, look, I would love to spend half my day prospecting and half my day closing deals. If that's all I had to do, I'd be surfing off my own island right now. All right, so you got the bright idea for CRE Task Wizard. How did it start? You didn't come up with that name overnight. How did it all start? Well, by the way, we need to give a shout out to your co-partner.
Yes.
Say, how did Elijah Stout get involved?
Elijah Stout worked with me at CBRE. We became very close friends. And he joined as a co-founder like 6 months kind of after. He was there with me in the early days, kind of fractionally on the side. And then he came over full time. And it's really great because we're best friends, run the company together. My wife's sister is Elijah's girlfriend. So we are interconnected in more ways than we probably would like to be, but it's actually pretty awesome because
that is awesome.
It will work. Yeah.
All in the family.
Yes. Family business is kind of a backwards way to get involved in a family business, but hey, it works.
So when you launched, did you start doing it while you were still doing brokerage, or was there a clean break?
I was actually at a Silicon Valley tech startup for about 6 months between CBRE and Task Wizard, officially incorporating. And I was kind of doing it on the side there. And when Task Wizard's monthly revenue or profitability eclipsed the point of the salary that I was making at that startup called FlexDesk, which is an awesome company, by the way. Any commercial real estate people should check that out too. I was like, hey, I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'm going to take the jump. So at that point, I went full time. That was probably 4 or 5 months after we incorporated the company.
Okay.
And we found all of our early customers just through, brokers that I knew from the industry at CBRE and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yep.
And so here we are 3 years later?
Yep. 3.5. That's crazy. Time flies.
Yeah. Well, you're having fun. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and unpack what it is you guys offer.
Sure. So we are a offshore staffing agency for commercial real estate teams. All that means is that you can hire the same talent to help you grow your commercial real estate business that you would hire in the States, but our specialty is offshore, and typically that same talent is at about a fraction of the cost of a comparable U.S. employee. So that ranges, there's kind of entry level, very fundamental kind of intern type work. That might look like data entry or data research, things like that. But more so, especially as AI is getting better, our clients are asking us for kind of higher premium talent, people who are putting together really seasoned OM books, fairly complex financial underwriting, pro formas, things like that, transaction management, updating your CoStar listings, kind of getting pretty nitty gritty into the business. So it ranges across that spectrum, but the trend is that talent is going a little bit more upscale because AI can do so much more these days.
Right. So, and I know you and I have talked in the past about this, but you can, you've got certain VAs that have certain skill sets so that, you can get maybe a VA that has experience in all skill sets, or you can get a VA that's like, no, this one is really, you want this one to do, marketing, whether it's property flyers, OMs, that kind of thing, versus somebody who's really good scrubbing data.
It's a great point. So I'll unpack this. So there's two types of talent that we placed. There are specialists and generalists. Specialists do excellent work in one of four verticals, but they only do excellent work in that one vertical. So I'll explain what the four verticals are. The first is lead generation. These are like your cold callers, your data scrubbers, your CRM managers. They grow your pipeline. The second vertical is transaction management. The third is marketing. And then the fourth is financial analysis or underwriter. So a specialist might be 5 times as better at work in that vertical as compared to a generalist, which you can think of as kind of a jack of all trades who might have some experience in all four of those verticals, right? And so the trend we see is like leaner teams who are like brokers that are like managing their own P&L. They might have their own shop. Sometimes they will start with a generalist to help them in all sorts of areas. But once you get to a point where you have identified the constraint in your business, we often find that people, hire, even if it's a 10-hour week or a 20-hour week specialist, and point them at that constraint to alleviate it, and then go hire another specialist for the next constraint, right? So that's kind of how we see people working it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so based on that, what kind of programs, can somebody get a part-time and a full-time, or how does it work in that regard?
Yeah. So we hop on a discovery call with you to try and learn about the business, your constraints, your goals, things like that. And then there's a plethora of options. We have full-time roles, 40 hours a week for like a dedicated assistant. We'll have 20 hours a week, so half-time, and then 10 hours a week too. Obviously, the higher, the more hours you go, you can get 40-hour a week pricing, even if it's 2 or 3 specialists that equate to a sum of 40 hours a week. Many people do that. Typically, we like to encourage people to start with one specialist just because it's easier to onboard one person at a time for you, because you will need to manage this person.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And what's the best way for people to reach you? How do they get in with CRE?
Yeah, any of the ways these days, except TikTok. We need to get on there. But no, we're on X, CRE Task Wizard on X. My co-founder and I are on X, our personal profiles as well. And then LinkedIn is a good way as well. But our website has a button where you can book a discovery call. We're happy to chat with anybody, learn a little bit about your business, see if we can help out in any way.
And that's CRETaskWizard.com.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Very good. Kevin, thank you so much, not only for spending some time with me today, but also I appreciate you and Elijah's support of Best 1031 Online. As my new promo says, I couldn't do what I do without my VA from CRE Task Wizard. So appreciate you, brother.
Likewise. Feelings are mutual, James. Keep it going. We're loving the 1031 content. Many of our clients and partners do as well. So keep it going. We're loving it.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. All right. So for all of you watching, thank you so much. Please go visit CRE Task Wizard. Guys are amazing at what they do. They will help you take you from here to here, I promise. And make sure you like, subscribe, and make any comments. And thanks again for watching.